Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, all I got to say is we got a offender up in here, a repeat offender, and we are loving it. We have talked with this young lady before, and she is awesome. And I'm so happy and we are both very happy to have her back on the show. Bryce, we talked to her a good bit ago. I know that we have much love for her, so I will pass it to you for a quick introduction before we get into it.
Well, we have today Miss Linda Paulding, and we're so excited to have her back on because who else do we talk to that knows as much about tennis as they know about pickleball? And we all know contention, the relationship, the battle that is happening between the tennis players and the pickleball players. But in addition to talking to Linda today, she has recently written a book called Never Limit Yourself. And although on the cover she has a pickleball paddle and a tennis racket, I suspect she's talking a little more and a little deeper than just tennis and pickleball. So without further ado, we welcome back to Brothers on Tennis, Miss Linda Paulding.
Yay. Thank you so very much. So guys, it's so wonderful to see both of you again, and I'm so proud of what you accomplished since the last time we've been together. I think it's been over a year now, and just continued much success and many blessings. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. No, like I said, we absolutely love having you on the show. We love talking to you. You are a wealth of knowledge. And again, you've been on the side of pickleball. You were at the forefront of when pickleball really started kicking off. So we just kind of want to talk to you to get an update from you first and foremost. So I know that you were kind of thinking about doing some tour spots the last time we spoke, and interested in kind of what's been going on with Linda Paulding since we talked.
Well, actually, I do have played and have played a number of pickleball tournaments. Of course, I don't play as much tennis, but I still do teach tennis. What has been going on with me is I am in the Palm Springs area. So during the summer, it gets extremely hot here. So we have to work other places and get maybe 120. Nobody wants to play anything at that time but jump in the swimming pool and play in the pool. So I actually last summer obtained through pickleball an opportunity to go there and start a program in the Hamptons. Such a beautiful place. Oh my gosh, tons of celebrities like Beyonce and Jay-Z and so forth and so on. And it was a fantastic opportunity for me. One of the greatest experience I have had in terms of celebrities. And they were all interested in pickleball. So I was there and enjoyed the time there. And again, it gave me an opportunity to see a little bit another side of the world. So, and then this past summer, I actually taught in Martha's Vineyards. Martha Vineyards is, I have not gone, and I've traveled to Paris, and I've gone to every major tennis tournament except the Australian Open, and I need to go there soon. But Martha's Vineyards is like no place I've ever been. Just fantastic. And I also worked with a club there in regards primarily pickleball, taught some tennis as well. Here I am with the Marriott, obtained the opportunity last year, about a year or so ago. And with the Marriott comes the Ritz-Carlton. So a lot in my life has changed. I just published a book right prior to going to Martha Vineyards. So now I'm at the process of just promoting my book and another sport is just developed, padel, and so I'm also including that in the process. But primarily, pickleball and tennis have been wonderful for me, and I use both of them when I teach tennis. I talk to people about pickleball. When I teach pickleball, I talk to them about tennis. They say, well, you're so good, how you have the touch and all. I tell them I first started in tennis. So pickleball was relatively easy for me. So it's just been a fantastic journey.
So Linda, let's talk about your book. What an accomplishment now to be a published author and
Thank you.
to put your voice out there in print. But for our listeners and our viewers,
Mm-hmm.
what's in your book? What can they look forward to reading and understanding from your perspective?
That's a very good question, Bryce. Let me just say this before I get into the book. In Martha's Vineyards, they paid me and they wrote me a check. And I went to the bank because my bank was not in Martha's. And I was just quickly, just kind of rushing. And I went into the bank and they were asking me for all type of identification. And Bryce and Isaac, somebody said, show them your book. And I showed them my license and, well, you have a passport or whatever. I brought on my book. And they said, oh my gosh, that's your passport. You don't need anything else. That's when I knew then, Bryce, that things had changed. And I was going like, they said, oh, she's an author. And I was like, oh my gosh, can we get your autograph? And I was going like, oh my gosh, I'm in Martha's Vineyard, so humble and everything. But that's when I realized that being an author is really tremendous. Now, my book talks about pickleball and tennis. I knew it was going to be sort of a rift, Isaac and Bryce, in regards to the sports because they're occupying the same real estate. Now, at this current time, many clubs and various facilities are beginning to just build pickleball courts. And I'm talking about just in the past several months or so. But prior to then, so many tennis courts were turned into pickleball courts. Yes, they were. So the tennis people were not happy because they no longer had the dominance and could go play tennis whenever they wanted to. And so pickleball actually helped in many ways to keep some of those tennis facilities going. So from that, it became a situation with the recreation parks, with the country clubs. What are we going to do? And so, therefore, what they did as a quick method was to take the tennis courts and just restripe them, whatever their process was, into pickleball courts. So if you have one, you can take one tennis court and turn it into 4 pickleball courts. So that's more people. So with more people, what happened, Bryce? More money.
More money.
There you go. So for a lot of managers and CEOs, so forth and so on, in regards to sports, it's going like, oh wow, pickleball. So mostly pickleball guys, they play doubles. Rarely you see singles in pickleball. Now, as you begin to see more of the tour players, you're gonna see singles, and it looks very much like tennis. Okay, but the majority of just recreational players, we play doubles, and so the numbers just increase. People's like, how did pickleball get to be so popular? Another thing, guys, is when there's a pickleball tournament, and I played in several. The pickleball tournament have your top players, like you may have Coco Gauff, or you may have Nadal, or whomever it may be that's playing in terms of tennis. There are 160, whatever the numbers are. Whereas in pickleball, at the same time the top players are playing, the regular recreational players are playing as well. Okay, so if I was out on the tour enough, I'm not out there all the time, so I'm not considered to be a tour player. But I have played a number of pickleball tournaments that I was able to establish a great name. And so, but your everyday person, like a 5-0 player to a I think 2.53 player, is playing in pickleball tournament. So you have about maybe amateurs is what we call it. We have about maybe sometimes 5,000 to 6,000 amateur players and maybe 100 tour players, and that's how pickleball gathers name. So if you're playing in those tournaments, you have to have membership. You're in the USAPA, and this year the Margaritaville, which is a national, was played in the Palm Springs area at Indian Wells, has been moved to Dallas, Texas. It's in Dallas, Texas this year. In fact, it's going to be in about 3 weeks. the first week of November, that which is called Margaritaville. So people often, well, why those great numbers? And that's why the great numbers is a short learning curve, and it's just a lot of fun. It's very social. Pickleball has opened a number location in malls. I don't know if you heard about it. They have here in the Palm Springs area, they are in various malls, and it's a way to keep those malls going. And internationally, they are open in, especially United States, they are open in many, many, many malls. So that has been great. Just some of the things that happen now. And I'm going to talk to you in terms of the tour players, but let me proceed on and see if you have any questions in terms of my book before I get into the tour players at all.
Well, I guess the question that I have is the title is so very, it's very strong. You never limit
Thank
yourself.
you.
So
Yes.
talk to us. How did you come up with the title to this book? Because again, it absolutely makes a statement.
Thank you so much. Well, Bryce, I tell you, I actually I had many names. And 2 days before the book, they said, this is your deadline for the book to be published, is when I came up with the name. So I thought what I would do when I look at life, Bryce, Isaac, when I look at life, I look at life as there a lot of people, young and old. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm a girl. I'm a boy. I can't do this. I'm black. I'm white. I'm blue. Whatever. I'm international. No, you're limiting yourself. Being from Alabama, I knew what it was to limit yourself. I said, I'm coming to California. That's where I'm going. And so I'm going out west where the goal is. But the reason why, because I didn't want to limit myself. Okay. And when I say that is California has always been a place which is open for many, many opportunities. I'm not saying that Alabama is not, but I know what it means when I look at Alabama from when I moved here to California almost 20 years ago and compare it to now. And I go back home, so forth and so on. So I thought that, gosh, what better name that not only could be applicable to tennis and pickleball, but applicable, Bryce and Isaac, in any given situation. So, and then my subtitle is Let's All Work Together. Let's all work together, meaning that let's communicate. Yes, we have the tennis courts, we have the pickleball courts. There's a time that you can utilize the courts, and there's a time that we can utilize the courts. So for tennis players, because I play both, and I love both. I love pickleball and tennis, and I play both, and I coach both. So I'm excited about it working together. And so for me, people say, well, you're playing pickleball now. No, I'm still playing tennis. Tennis is still my first love, but I love pickleball as well. So I think it's so important that we all work together and realize that the courts can be shared. When I grew up in Alabama, 6 of us, we had one bathroom. Okay, and Bessemer, Alabama, and we had to share. And I know a lot of us know about sharing, and so, but my brother would eat most of all my food, and I used to share with him because I was trying to watch my weight. So I do know about sharing, and so I'm just so excited about both sports. So thank you so much. We can work together, communicate, respect one another, and love. That's what it's all about, Isaac and Bryce. It's about us working together and understand the importance of communication. So thank you. Very, very good question.
So I have a follow-up question. We hear a lot about the positive side of pickleball. It's easy to learn. You don't have to cover as much court. It's
Yes.
very available. It's rapidly growing. But I've heard some challenges that the sport has.
Okay.
And particularly, I've heard about like injuries with vibration on the paddles. What are some of the things that we're not hearing about pickleball that the sport has yet to grow on?
Very good question. When you're talking about injuries, Bryce, primarily when I started in pickleball and I was in Los Angeles, where you are, the Los Angeles area, and I was there at Huntington Beach, a location. There were about maybe 300 of tennis pros. We all were there, and they came and talked to us about pickleball. And I talk about it in my book. And there were three of us pros that immediately said, "Oh my gosh, pickleball!" And the rest going, "Oh, it would be just like racquetball." And so that's how I actually came here to Palm Springs, because I knew pickleball. It was in my dreams, certainly from above, and said pickleball is the future. And so therefore I would be traveling back and forth, teaching tennis, learning pickleball here. And actually that's why I ended up moving here, because there was no place for me to play in Los Angeles area. And in fact, some people sort of laughed at me a little bit. When I see them, they said, "Linda, you have the laugh." I said, "Oh, don't worry about it." But what happened is that what's going on at that particular time, Bryce, pickleball was mainly played by mature people. And I'm mature too now. So pickleball was mainly played by over 50, 60, 70. Now we know that the two players now are not 50, 60, 70, right? So therefore there were injuries. And because sometimes as we mature, there are limitations, right? And there are injuries anywhere. So there were a number of injuries in terms of some falls and some other things in regards to that. Another problem has been, Bryce, with pickleball is the noise, the noise of the wiffle ball has been one of the places, just a wonderful country club. They said, "Linda, if you can come and explain to us how we can make pickleball less noisy, you have the job." They said, because our members are concerned, the HOA people, so forth and so on, are concerned about noise. I gave them a solution. We're going to play at a certain time. There is equipment we can purchase that make it less noisy, if you want to do that. But let's just, at this time, since you have so many that want to play pickleball, and to resolve the conflict, what we would do is just start later, and then we would end early. So we're talking about conflict resolution. Now, in terms of pickleball, those were the two main things. And I know there's been a lot of people talking about the doctor and medical reports and a lot of this. And in sports, there's going to be injuries. But I think primarily because you're primarily dealing with mature people. So those were, and of course, we talked about taking over tennis courts. We talked about that previously. Those were the three major issues. Some less things, but those are three major issues that pickleball had to encounter.
And Linda, are you seeing that the strategy for pickleball, because you mentioned how they're kind of moving into like the mall area, and I've been hearing a lot about that because, of course, as we know, a lot of malls are kind of shutting down, stores are closing. There's a little bit of an issue there. And it seems as though pickleball is really being smart in the sense that they're trying to capture that space. And then for those stores that still remain in the malls, you've kind of got that dual purpose, if you will. Are you seeing that more in the pickleball community as far as branching out?
Absolutely. It's huge. Just all over the country. And that has been huge because a lot of malls are struggling because we know, of course, of the pandemic. So pickleball being there and having the great numbers of people, and just trying to find a place. People are just trying to play pickleball anywhere. In the backyard, anywhere. They just building little pickleball locations, or in the parking lot, or whatever. So the mall, being able to create opportunities for people to come back to the mall because of the popularity of pickleball, I think it's been huge for our economy and for the United States. So that's true. That's been fantastic, Isaac. It's happening all over the country.
And then can you talk a little bit about how the world of tennis is really influencing pickleball? I mean, we're starting to see pickleball tournaments be covered on the Tennis Channel. We're having exhibitions with tennis legends like Andre Agassi and John McEnroe and Steffi Graf and Sharapova. And we're also seeing some of our tennis professionals, as they retire from tennis, move over to professional pickleball. So Jack Sock and Sam Querrey and the like. So your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to say first, Bryce, is that yes, we have the ones that are mature, are retired, but we have like Tyra Black, who is a young 20. She played on the tennis tour. We have some of them that are not retired that have come over as well. But yes, there are a number of retired players like the ones you named. They've been involved with pickleball for several years. I think most of them got involved maybe about 2 years ago. In fact, I think Jeannie Bouchard, the Canadian, she's going to start on the tour 2024, I believe. There's been some conversation, talks that I've read about in terms of the Bryan brothers and many others, and the ones you named, Shirley Sock and a few of those other guys. They have been involved with pickleball, but they are also still playing tennis as well. So yes, a number of two players like Ben Johns is the most popular male, number one male tour player. He's probably 2021 in pickleball. He played on the tennis tour, but not at a level of some of the top players. We also have, I think, Anna Lee Waters, the 16-year-old. I think she has a tennis background as well. There are quite a number of the young tour players that do have a tennis background, but not to the degree of the top players. So yes, I expect to see that happen. I'm going to tell you, Bryce, how that happened, because when I started in, they didn't have, when I started in pickleball 2018, 19, there was not any, there was some monies, but it was maybe 10, 15,000, wasn't much money at all. And then sort of around 20, they began to pay more because they began to receive better sponsors. And during the pandemic, during that process, is when they developed the PPA, the Professional Pickleball Tour, and the APP. It's where the players can play for money. Now, so they were the money, the purse increased. But about a month ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, the PPA and the Major League Pickleball team started pretty much the end of last year, where LeBron James, Brady, and I saw Trey Young, and it showed him in the audience about a week or so ago. They were playing the PPA, APP, one of the tours were in Atlanta. He bought a pickleball team. And I think when they first purchased the pickleball teams, it was like for $1 million. So LeBron, Brady, Draymond Green, Trey Young, some other football players and all, mainly football and basketball players, maybe some celebrities, invested in Major League Pickleball. These are teams, whereas the tour and the team concept is totally different. Well, they had somewhat of a rift, and they split about 3 weeks ago. Okay, it was a big split. It was huge, and it just really kind of shattered the tour. And so a lot of the players, they had to make a choice of who they were going to go with, whether it's going to go with Major League Pickleball team, or if they was going to go with the PPA. And so we was going like, oh, now the same thing, similar thing happened with tennis years ago. Okay, I think maybe in the 60s, 70s, when Arthur Ashe and many of the other players like Jimmy Connors and so forth, so on. So during that particular time, the I think it was the Major League Pickleball team began to offer two or $300,000 to certain players. Okay, so with that split, it lasted for maybe about a week or two. Then they came back together because the top players on the pickleball tour went with the PPA. Okay, and then the I would say maybe about 75%, maybe 60, 75% of the other players, they went with the Major League Pickleball team. So they realized they needed each other. Let's, like my book said, let's all work together. So they came back together about maybe a week or two ago. They had that problem, but they were able to resolve it. They actually, and so at that time, different players, pickleball player, tour players, signed with Major League Pickleball teams, and they signed with the PPA. but they came back together. So now, currently, my understanding, they still together. So pickleball is going through its growing pains because we're talking about endorsement. We're talking about major money in pickleball now. I could say that for sure that Ben Johns, the number one player in pickleball, and in Lee Waters are for sure millionaires. Okay, they are, and now at this current moment, I could probably say maybe the top three to maybe five players on the tour, maybe millionaires now. So it has changed. Oh my gosh, if you, I'm going like, oh my gosh. So this would happen in tennis years ago, a similar type thing. So again, I've been keeping up with it, and in the process of writing another book. It's just evolving, and you are absolutely right. Right, it's going to be a number of tennis players you're going to see, especially in 2024, that will be playing on the pickleball tour because they're receiving two or three, 400 or more $1,000 endorsement. Now they can go to the hotels and receive whatever fees and have maybe a coach or whatever the needs are with that kind of money. So pickleball is certainly not where tennis is, but it's on its way in terms of monies. So very, very good. Thank you.
Well, and Linda, I've got a question for you just in regards to, again, that evolution and expansion. So we were talking a little bit about how pickleball is really kind of very popular in the States, of course, and hasn't quite reached out to, all around globally. I'll say it like that. So what are your thoughts as it relates to what you're seeing and its expansion outside of the US and beyond?
It's huge. I've just noticed China, a lot of Asia, Australia, England, they all are developing pickleball programs. In fact, some of those places are offering us jobs, and I'm going like, but I love the United States. So, but no, they. I mean, Isaac, they are really, really having a number of tournaments, and most of them have gotten involved. I would say started probably last year. Now, what happened once the celebrities like the Kardashians and LeBron James and Brady? Oh my gosh! I mean, you're just calling some of those names, and let me just say this: Jamie Foxx has a pickleball paddle called Best Paddle. And so, I told him I'm going to promote all of pickleball of all, comparing the two sports. Pickleball has so many paddle companies. Since I've been coaching pickleball, some of my parents or students, they said, well, I have a friend that just started pickleball and they're bringing me paddles. They just started a pickleball paddle company. This was started pickleball. My cousin, my son-in-law just started. My darling, I'm going like, oh my gosh. There are so many, Bryce and Isaac, there are so many paddle companies out there. Of course, there's Selkirk, Engage, the top ones. The one, the EULA, the name is Joola that Ben Johns has. It's Franklin, so forth and so on. It's so, but you have so many others that have made tremendous money because it's just a basic paddle. I remember the paddles were under $100 for pickleball. Now the paddles, I think the Ben John paddles start 200 and some dollars, 240, $50. I'm going like, huh? So we're talking about supply and demand. That I don't never know of tennis having that many racket companies. There were about maybe top 20 or so, but I'm going like, oh my gosh, all these paddle companies. Now, are they going to be able to maintain later as the sport get more popular? Because the EULA paddle is probably number one. Selkirk, between Selkirk and EULA, Joola, the one Ben John signed with, and Simone Georgine, the top players. I think Annalie is with another company, but Engage and so forth. So, and then a lot of your tennis companies, like I'm with Babylon. And I talked to them several years ago when they didn't have any paddles. And I said, y'all should be paying me. I said, you need to get some pickleball paddles. So it has been amazing. in terms of just seeing the growth of pickleball. And I just couldn't sit down without writing a book because I think a lot of times for me, this is the largest of anything in my life to seeing the growth of how pickleball has developed, guys. I'm just amazed. I'm going like, oh my gosh, I need to get a brand of clothing developed like that. You know, can I get the Kardashians or LeBron and Brad? But no, pickleball is truly is internationally is growing as well. So I would imagine probably in the next year or two, you're going to see, you know, there are going to be some issues in terms of. I'm going to tell you the issue that I have in my book, guys, and to get straight to the point. I address 7 questions, and one of the issues in my book is whether pickleball can become a spectator sport. Now, I talked to some of the people in Bainbridge Island, and I was trying to get there this summer, but I was in Martha's Vineyards. They had their um, Founders Day tournament there with the families, some of the grandkids and so forth and so on that are still alive. The families, the 3 to 4 families that started pickleball. It started in Bainbridge Island in 1965. And so they invited me to come, and I'm hoping to come next year. I might even get a chance to go there sooner and talk with some of the family members. And people will express they didn't really see pickleball from some of the book persons in my book as a spectator sport, but they said, "Wow, we never saw that." Now, pickleball has a form where you're dinking. You've seen it. I know you all play with me. I know you played since. It's not that you have the ernie, okay? You have the round the post. And so when it come down to being spectacular, because when you're ding, 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 third shot drop, ding, 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 people are like, oh, I'm gonna watch tennis because, but I'm gonna play pickleball. So that is an issue, a question mark that I still don't have the answer to. It's going to be interesting, Bryce and Isaac. And I addressed that about 2 or 3 years ago. When I looked at pickleball, I said, can it become a spectator sport? It's fun, but a spectacular sport like tennis and others has to have a flair, has to have I mean, some things you go like, wow, ooh, wow, dinking. How can we make dinking spectacular, or do you limit it or what? Ah,
Right.
so those some issues, and as I do more and more, I'm starting to do videos, and people's like, "Oh my gosh, you're addressing some issues." I said, "Because I've been in tennis for so long, so I see." I got in on pickleball at an early stage when people laughed at me a little bit, and they just like, "Oh my gosh," you know, and now they smile. And but what I'm saying is that it was a gift, and to see it develop. Mm, can we turn it into something spectacular? The scoring has changed, Bryce and Isaac, especially for Major League Pickleball teams. They're rally scoring instead of traditional scoring, where you can only score if you are a server. Okay. And so with regular scoring, you can only score as a server. And then rally scoring is, you know, every point you get, you know, I get a point and you get a point. So you have that in Major League Pickleball team. So that is the question mark that I get so many times that I addressed several years ago. So continue on with these great questions, guys. Continue. Thank you so much.
I did want to ask you about, you've mentioned that you're going to be writing a second book. So what's going to be the focus of book number 2?
Well, you know, there are a lot of things that's going on as we see it develop. It's developing daily. So as it develops, I journal. All right. I've been journaling. Let me just say this in my book. I talk about that, you know, I talk about it was Oprah Winfrey about 20 years ago. She talked about writing down 5 blessings every day. And I started doing it, but I would write more than 5. She would say, right. She write hers at night. Well, I'm an early morning person. I usually get up in the morning by 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock and a.m. And so at that particular time is when I get my ideas. So I began to journal back then when she stated this. So that's how I was able to easily write the book from my journal. And so from that, when she talked about that, I began to journal. And so I'm journaling now. That's how I know what's going on. When I tell you the rift between the separation between the Major League Pickleball team and the PPA and so forth and so on, a lot of people are not aware of what's going on. So there are going to be some other major changes in pickleball. I would say probably about the first of the year, if not before. Uh, Anything that grows at a tremendous rate this way, everybody talks about it. No matter where you go, pickleball, I can go anywhere, and they turn. When I mention, I can talk about football, basketball, whatever. And then when I say pickleball, they say, "Oh yeah, pickleball. I want to know more about it." And actually, guys, most people don't think that pickleball started yesterday. I said, "Oh no. Pickleball started in 1965 on Bainbridge Island in Seattle, Washington." They said, "You sure?" I said, "I know." I said, "Read my book," and that's how I was able to sell a great number of books. So yes. So one of the things about life, I just journal and I have books everywhere. So I will continue. There are some other sports that's coming up, Bryce and Isaac, as I mentioned, at platform tennis, padel, a lot of things. So we'll see. Next time you talk to me, we'll see what I've developed since then, huh? So yes, there's a lot going on in the racket sports world, and a lot of people are not familiar with it because they just want to go out and play. But those of us who I was quite young, but I used to play with a wood tennis racket. Okay, and so you all are a little bit younger than I am. So, but I used to
I
play with
started
wood.
with the wood racket. I had a Wilson Jack Kramer
Yes, that's right.
racket.
That's right. Uh-huh. And so, in fact, I was at a pickleball facility the other day, and the gentleman was playing with a wood racket. He made his own paddle, and they actually paddles, and he was playing. And I said, "Oh my gosh, you should get that designed to somebody, because it could be fun playing commemorative type activities, pickleball and tennis with a wood paddle or tennis racket." So it's been a tremendous journey for me, guys. Being in Martha's Vineyards was really fantastic. They still have a number of facilities that do not offer pickleball. But a lot of the presidents have a presence there. They have homes there, so forth and so on. And I was just so excited, guys. If you go to Martha's Vineyard, a lot of people haven't been there, and I was so thankful that I received that opportunity. There are people during the summer now. Pretty much nobody's there hardly now, but in the summer there are like literally hundreds and thousands of people in Edgartown, where the Obamas live further down South Beach. There are people in Oaks Bluffs. There are people in Vineyard Haven. And it's so expensive to find a place to stay there. Oh, I thought people were teasing about that, guys. It's just literally so expensive. The for one night, you and during the summer, say starting about June, you're gonna have to be paying at least about, if you don't have connections or someone you know, probably at least about five. It's nothing to play $500 and $600 a night or more. Just tremendous. So I learned a lot in terms of life and pickleball. Again, when I was in the Hamptons, I last summer and this summer, maybe West Palm. I've been
Ooh.
invited. They said, "You need to go to some of those elite places, Linda." I said, "Yes." I said, "Tennis took me around the world, but pickleball is taking me to the elite places of the world." So, and of course, with that, I do go to inner city and help start pickleball teams and do whatever I can as well. So it's been a great journey. Pickleball has been fantastic for me. So I'm still trying to get the organizations who may want to work together. And people still looking at me going like Linda but I think that as a person like myself, I think it is incumbent on us to do our part. And people say, oh, I said, but I'm going to do my part. And so this book is dedicated to let's all work together. However, Bryce and Isaac, it can be applicable in any given situation. People have been using my book in various organizations and so forth and so on about life and working together. And you all know the two of you all work together. You understand you have to sit down and communicate because I have a way and method and means that I want things to be accomplished, which may be totally different from what you want to. And so I'm so excited. And I have to mention my friend Glenn Gillum. Glenn Gillum has been such a friend of mine, and he's been on this journey with me. And I got a chance to. We talked about brothers on tennis, and he would often talk about. That's when I first heard about you all. And Glenn said, Linda, I said, I did. I talked with them about pickleball. And I said, they got back in touch with me and we're going to meet again and talk again. And he's so excited. But Glenn has been a huge help to me along the way on this journey. And what I've been doing, because he knows that it's really been really exciting for me. And it's really been a gift from above. And I really thank God for that. And I thank you all for this great opportunity. And if you have any further questions I'll be happy to answer. And it's just so wonderful to see y'all and to know that you was at the US Open and hoping the same thing to BNP Paribas as well.
Absolutely. And Linda, I just have kind of a question bringing it back around to, of course, the tennis piece. You are a coach of tennis. Are you planning to do, or are you continuing to also do coach in tennis as well? Because you've got the book, you've got pickleball, you've got all of these things that are happening. Are you kind of still making space for tennis?
Very good question. When I was in Martha Vineyards, I did teach tennis when I was in the Hampton, and then here in Palm Springs, I do some teaching of tennis. I have to say, Bryce and Isaac, you all are fabulous. I have to say that my life has been primarily focused and centered around pickleball because, again, I'm mature. So a lot of us were like, oh, pickleball. I can do an underhand serve, Bryce and Isaac. So bet on my body, to be honest. Okay. So, but I love tennis. I still play tennis. I still coach tennis. And I try to attend any trainings and provide information. And I use my tennis to people say, well, you're good and your game. And when I first started playing pickleball, everybody wanted to play with me. And it was because of tennis. So again, very good question, Isaac. Tennis is my first love. However, we have to move forward. And moving forward for me was, being able to sustain my body a little bit better, even though in many ways we have had, it's going to have injuries in any sport. But again, yes, I still love and play quite a bit. And so, but my main focus in terms of playing tournaments have been pickleball. But I can still give you all a hard time in tennis now.
Oh, I know you can. Well, I tell you what,
Absolutely.
we are absolutely so happy to have reconnected with you, and we are looking forward to seeing you again in Palm Springs in the March time frame.
Thank you.
I know I want to get back out on the pickleball court for sure, get another lesson
Absolutely.
from you for sure. But once again, can you show the cover of your book? We just want
Sure.
our viewers to be able to see. This is Never Limit Yourself by Linda Paulding. Whether you're a pickleball player, a tennis player, or someone who's just trying to navigate through life, great book for you to pick up and read and support our very, very good friend. So, Isaac, any last words you have for today?
Honestly, just to reiterate what I started with, Linda, it is always such a pleasure
Thank
connecting
you.
with you,
Thank you,
talking with
guys.
you. appreciate your wisdom, appreciate your efforts and what you are doing in both sports. I mean, you are doing so very much, and we appreciate you and hope that you know that everything that you do is very much appreciated.
Absolutely. It's amazing because I was mentioning you all to Richard Williams. And I need to get you all set up with Richard Williams. He's been calling me and talking about the book and so forth. So he called me yesterday, called me today, and they said, "Oh, Richard's calling you out." I said, "Yes." So let me make that connection with you all. He sounds well. He's doing well. A lot of people that I started with, Richard, I used to sit in the prime seats with him years ago, and I used to advise him with the girls, and was a confidant. And I was happy to do that, and did some coaching. I worked with the federal government for a while, then went into coaching tennis, and so. But we've had a long time relationship, and with the family, and when the girls were younger. Sort of like the same way with Rick Macy. We were all there when mom and dad were in charge. And so I'm excited that to just share with you all that he's doing well, and he's excited about various things that's going on. A lot of the tennis greats are beginning to watch pickleball with a watchful eye. Okay. And so they say, I talked to Kamal Sloan Stevens coach and maybe almost a month ago. And they said, how can we make money in pickleball, Linda? So it's been a great journey for me, guys. And if anybody that I can help you with in terms of your program, as I reconnect in ways, because working for Black Tennis Magazine is when I was out there on the circuit more. But now that I'm, involved, now that I'm an author, Bryce, as you mentioned, being an author, things are beginning to happen for me again, and it's going quite well. And thank you all again. And
well, I tell you what,
I'm going to say that you all, I'm just so proud of you all. And I know
thank
your
you.
parents are as well. You are doing a fabulous job. God
Thank
bless
you. Well, I tell you what, our followers would absolutely love to hear and see us talk to Richard and get an update on what's going on with him. So we will happily accept that that assistance there. But once again, thanks for being on, Linda. And to our followers and our viewers, please check out her book, Never Limit Yourself. We're so excited and happy for her success. So with all of that, on behalf of the podcast with Linda Paulding, this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Everyone stay well.
Thank you so much, guys.